Tony Blair has an ally in Albania's Prime Minister Edi Rama, the socialist leader in control of Albania since 2013, who has installed an AI chatbot as a government minister, brought in Digital ID and snubbed Britain on migrant deportations, says he owes his political career to our former PM. Blair's Institute does work in Albania, though much of this is opaque. Albanians are furious at what they see as anti-democratic policies and ask if they are being used as a guinea pig for Mr Blair's technocratic ideas. Mr Rama, still closely associated with Mr Blair, has refused to help the UK with offshore migrant processing, despite doing so for Italy. He started a feud with Nigel Farage, called Brexit disastrous and said the UK's immigration views are dark and outdated, while arguing immigration from his country could solve what he calls the UK's demographic winter. As of July this year, Albania had taken back just 8 of its criminals the UK wanted to deport. But now, after 4 terms and 12 years as Albania's Prime Minister, Blair's protégé faces a revolt from Albanians outraged over his AI technocracy. Leading the charge is Evi Kokalari, well-connected and a Donald Trump ally. She's considering returning from New York to Albania to oust Edi Rama. If successful, she says she'd rid Albania of its AI minister and Tony Blair. She joins me now. So a little while I reported back on the introduction of an AI chatbot minister to Albania's parliament, and we saw in the video that I'd done scenes of uproar amongst MPs. A lot of the mainstream media in many countries didn't cover that part. So I wanted to ask you, as an Albanian, how has the reaction been to this, brand new thing that's never even happened before in any other country?
They feel that they're being mocked by the Prime Minister, and they are, and the opposition is feeling the same way, and they made it as a point in the first day in the Parliament, actually, as a matter of fact.
When you say mocked, what do you mean? Do Albanians feel like they're being taken for idiots?
Correct, 100%. Or at least they feel that Edi Rama is doing that to them, and he believes that these people are just plain stupid. And let me explain something, by the way. The minister that apparently is supposed to give you, 170,000 documents at, a matter of seconds. This is a system that has been in place in Albania before. It's called e-Albania, in which you can log on as a person, as an Albanian. You have your number, whatever the identification number you have, you log on, and you can get your birth certificate. You can get a lot of paperwork, which I tried it last year. After so many years, I was in Albania, so I logged in, and I was able to get my birth certificate. So the system was there. This is nothing new, but they attached this AI, which they are calling it a minister, and they're saying, well, the minister now is dealing directly with you, and this minister is going to cut corruption. So corruption of which government? Edi Rama's government? Because he has been in power for the past 12 years, and he's going for another 4 years. So just right there, the amount of the arrogance that they are treating the people. And by the way, recently, I don't know if you heard, Diella is pregnant, if I'm not mistaken, with 83 illegal Diellas, I guess? I don't know. I mean, the joke just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's an absolute mockery, in my opinion.
So all the opposition parties in Albania, are they all united in being against Diella? Or are there some people that actually think, no, it's a good idea?
I don't think anybody's saying it's a good idea, because it's not a good idea. Nobody that has an ounce of brain cell left in them can think that this is a good idea. If anything, this is literally 1984, Orwellian big sister coming at play. But nobody thinks it's a good idea. Certain people are not going to speak up because they are going to do whatever Edi Rama wants them to do. And that's about it. But again, massively, the Albanians they feel they are being mocked at this point. They have major issues, and now you have Edi Rama on his 4th term coming and say, well, guess what? I'm giving you guys AI ministers, and this is how we're going to do it from now on. And corruption is not going to happen. It's just it's a major joke, and I feel bad for the people, by the way.
At the moment, the fight in politics seems to be between the globalists and nationalists, people that care about their countries and their nations. And in our country, we've had the government of Tony Blair for many years, and ever since, there seems to be that strand of politics that's remained, one that believes in using technology to create this technocracy And it seems to me that Edi Rama is taking this on. Who is Edi Rama? How did he come about? And who has he been inspired by?
Well, I saw an interview actually that apparently he has been inspired by Tony Blair.
I would not be nor prime minister and either a man engaged in politics without him. And before knowing him, he was my role model, and he was the inspiration to enter politics, to reform the Socialist Party, and to believe that not only politics can be a force for good, but it can be a third way for the left.
Edi Rama lived in Paris at the same time that I lived in Paris, which was 1995, 1996, 1997. And I know for a fact that's where he met with George Soros, and he became part of George Soros' elite and you know, the Legal Open Society in Albania, which did a lot of damage. I do not know if Tony Blair belongs to the Davos Party, which obviously Soros does. But I can tell you that maybe he admired Tony Blair when Tony Blair was PM. Edi Rama at the time returned in Albania in the invitation of the former Prime Minister of Albania, Fatos Nano, and he became Minister of Culture or Education or something to this effect. And that's how his political career started. But he was definitely favored by George Soros. So his comment about Tony Blair that, you know, there wouldn't be a politician Edi Rama if it wasn't for Tony Blair, I might have red flags. I don't know how the two connected at some point during their political career.
The thing is, it's very clear that Tony Blair and Edi Rama are friends. You've seen there's pictures of them on the internet. Tony Blair around Edi Rama's garden. They've talked a lot about how their politics are similar. Edi Rama, as you say, said that he's been inspired by Blair. They were talking last year about the introduction of Digital ID, which Tony Blair has pushed in the UK.
What are you doing? You're building a digital infrastructure. You've got plans for digital identity. I mean, tell us about the different elements of how you're bringing about this digital revolution to the country.
When you have to build a modern state, when you have to build functioning institutions, you have to count on people, right? So in every process, you have to count on people. And counting on people is not enough, because as the saying goes, it's not the people that corrupt the systems, it's the systems that corrupt the people.
But when it comes to the Tony Blair Institute, it seems to be slightly secretive about its work in Albania. We know that they do work in Albania because they've got a head of Albania. What is the Albanians' understanding of Tony Blair's influence in their country?
Well, for many, many years, the discussion in the media, I'm just talking based on the Albanian media at this point, has been that either Tony Blair or his wife was consulting Edi Rama in certain matters. I don't know what kind of matters. I don't know how he's getting paid for that, which I think should be disclosed, because when you're the prime minister of a country and you have consultants for the government, my understanding will be that you want to disclose them at some form, but those are not disclosed. So I cannot say more about that. Maybe Albania is much easier for Edi Rama to mock the people, like I said before, versus you using it in UK, which people will take it much more seriously, maybe, you know, protest or so on. But whichever way you look at it, this is not good. This is not good. This is interfering with everybody's independence. We need to fight it, and we need to fight it very, very fast.
It does seem like Albania is in a way being used as testing ground for some of this, and even as though it could help Albania's bid to join the EU by being the good boy and trying out all of these policies. But if we look more across Edi Rama's politics, there's been some tension with the UK in the last few years since Brexit. Edi Rama has been very outspoken about Brexit. He's called it disastrous. He's had a bust-up with Nigel Farage, and it's not always clear to me or to the British viewer why this man cares so much.
Well, the question should be number one, why is so arrogant towards UK? That's the way I look at it. As if I was the PM of Albania, especially with the position that the Albanians are right now, I would have been much more polite and much more diplomatic. And seeing, personally, I consider Edi Rama a clown, and he was a clown in my eyes. But what if you think about it, is the guy gaining certain confidence because of Tony Blair being around him? Has Tony Blair maybe coached him at some point on what his approach should be in UK? Because he gave an interview recently, I do believe, one of think tanks that are in UK, and he was really very polite, and I was shocked of the arrogance. Number one, and number two, Edi Rama is not in position to speak about any other country in Europe because Albania is still a place where corruption is very, very deep. The drug trafficking, apparently, it took me years to understand what was happening with the drug trafficking in Albania, because in America, we don't hear this very often. But when I started being more in contact with Albania itself and with Europe, I started understanding that, wait a minute, in UK, we as Albanian, as a nation, apparently have an issue. And, I've done a lot of research. So whichever way you look at it, Edi Rama is in no position to give any opinion, especially for UK, let alone, being so arrogant. I'm embarrassed for him. As an Albanian, speaking as an Albanian right now, I am extremely embarrassed with the way he introduced the country. This is, when he speaks that way, he represents every Albanian, and he represents every Albanian that is an immigrant in England. So he needs to be very careful and diplomatic. But I want to question Tony Blair. Is Tony Blair just, giving that kind of confidence to Edi Rama so he can go out there and be that arrogant? Or is the guy just a clown and Tony Blair is just, not consulting him properly? I don't know.
Well, I wonder if it speaks to that worldview that they share. He has agreed to take immigrants from Italy, but then Keir Starmer, when he rolled out the red carpet for Edi Rama, he went and he asked if he could have deportation centres in Albania, and Edi Rama just said absolutely not. He has signed a deal with the previous Tory government to take back Albanian criminals, but by July this year, we'd only been able to send back 8, even though we know, as you said, Albanians are some of the most prolific offenders in the UK. And it just seems like, is he trying to... Is it that he just has no goodwill to help the UK because he's so against Brexit?
The fact that you guys are not in the EU, I believe that Edi Rama's interest is just to make Albania part of the EU, which I don't understand how the country is being considered, because just speaking about the corruption and so on. So there may be a chance that he wanted to be on the nice side of Giorgia Meloni, which probably opened certain doors for him within the EU. This can be totally the case. The fact that UK is not in the EU, he doesn't see an interest on doing this for you guys, because he's not getting anything back. However, the fact that he didn't bring back the criminals, he should have done it, because, again, when you have a certain percentage of the Albanians in prison in England, and especially they are giving a very bad reputation to the rest of immigrants, Albanian immigrants that are in UK and are very, very honest people, and they work very, very hard, and their whole reputation gets shredded because there is a group of, criminals, organized crime, whatever they may be. And again, if I was a PM of Albania, I would have taken them back just so I can give the benefit to the rest of the immigrants that we have, we'll clean up our mess, and the rest of our guys are excellent. And, I want them to succeed being in UK, in Italy, in America, wherever they are. But again, you see it very clearly. There is a level of arrogance with the way that he treats everything, and especially UK. And again, I want to go to Tony Blair because I believe they are very, very close, and there's no way Tony Blair didn't tell him the ABC of communication when you're a politician on that, being the leader of a country like that. So
when Edi Rama has been asked about the problem of Albanian illegal immigration to the UK, he's been very dismissive of it, and he said that it's a good thing and that it can help with the UK's needs. Why why are so many Albanians leaving after, so many years of this supposedly good socialist government? And why doesn't he want to keep his people?
Well, sadly, they had the census that came, I believe, last year or maybe a few months ago, and the population that remains in Albania today is 2.3. It was well over 3 million in the early 90s when I left Albania. And that was Albania coming out of the communist regime. So you would think that, with having a better market, better possibilities, the population will grow. But it did go down tremendously. And I believe about 700,000 have left in the past 12 years. And I believe more are going to go. And I have been going back and forth in Albania in the past 3 years. I have observed a lot of things that are happening in there. And I can tell you for a fact that Edi Rama controls absolutely every segment of the economy in Albania. And what I mean by that is being banking, insurance, tourism, construction, food chains, every single thing somehow is owned by either oligarchs or associates of Edi Rama, which he strictly controls, in my opinion. I cannot say how deals are done. I can definitely say that it's a completely corrupt system, but this is making it impossible to have a free market economy in Albania. So the pricing is very, very high. Like you go in a supermarket in London, the prices are much lower when it comes to food than they are in Albania. Now, understand that the salaries in Albania are very tiny compared to what you get the standard being in UK or in the US. I compare it with New York, and the prices were the gas, to fill out the tank was the same amount that I pay in New York City. So it was, I was shocked, and I have raised this concern. And in the end, I understand that he controls absolutely every segment of the economy, and he is forcing people to leave because they can manage any other way. And I feel very sad that they are coming by boats in UK, and I don't know what other countries have the same problem, but I would love to see a different Albania where people are coming back and there are opportunities. And you cannot do this to another country. I mean, I know, okay, during the Kosovo War was a different story because this was war refugees. But being 34 years after the replacement of the communist regime, and you still have people leaving, then you got to look at the government. That's why I believe the EU is an absolute joke when they are even giving hopes to Edi Rama that Albania will be part of the EU, and I don't understand it why and based on what criteria. So
you are quite well connected in Albania, and you're also very well connected in the US. I believe you're allied with President Donald Trump there. Would you consider going back to Albania, taking on Edi Rama and trying to take power there? And if you were, how would you treat the UK differently to Edi Rama?
Oh my God!
Also, how would you treat Tony Blair? Would you continue to allow his institute to operate in Albania? Would you keep Diella?
Well, Diella will probably pass away if I was to go back and take over. But I can guarantee you one thing, UK will love me. If I was to replace the guy, trust me. Not only because I would have taken care of the criminals, I would have probably gotten some help from Bukele in El Salvador to tell me how to build a high security prison like he has done it in there. Bring everybody in there, because if I was to take criminals away from UK, then the rest of our immigrants will be treated much better, and I want that because I don't want that reputation for our community. Tony Blair probably would have been the last time coming to Albania when Edi Rama was in place. He could have taken Diella with him. Diella is a real person, by the way. You see the AI, but the person behind it is a real person and happened to be a former press secretary for the opposition. Believe it or not, she's also an actress, so she's a real thing. But definitely, given I would have stopped that nonsense, but I also would have cleaned up corruption, Doge style. You know how we had Elon Musk and Donald J. Trump and everybody else, and there was 90 days from the day that Donald Trump took over, and it was a major cleanup and looking through waste and everything else. Now Albania is 2.3 million right now. I could have done that if in America it took about 3 to 6 months to clean up, the first cleanup, because the cleanup continues, don't get me wrong. But it's very, very easy to clean up Albania. It's very, very easy to clean up the corruption, because whatever corruption happens in Albania, it affects Europe as well, especially the drug trafficking, that apparently there may be a connection to South America. And many of those have been investigated by the FBI. And I hope the FBI will stay on top of everything until corruption is cleaned in Albania.
Tell the globalists that Albania is not going to be their guinea pig anymore.
100%. 100%. Not just that, but I will bring the people back, because I will open the markets and, just treat the country with some love, because that country has not we haven't seen a leader that puts the interests of Albania first. Everybody has been very corrupted, just making their own money. And you guys are feeling also, this is why you have the boats coming your way. Sadly.
If you did decide to throw your hat in the ring in Albania, would you have Donald Trump's endorsement, do you think?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Has he told you that?
Well, no, he has not, because I haven't had that conversation with him, but 100%. I mean, I've been a MAGA or a Trump conservative, I would say, since 2012, when he was thinking about running. That was against Mitt Romney, but he didn't do it. And then 2016 was a big one when he came out down that escalator. So yeah, I've been, I'm going to say Trump Republican, because MAGA has had some issues recently and we're trying to clean up. But the real MAGA is the MAGA that Donald J. Trump started in 2016. And the day that he came down, he did say, "Make America Great Again." And it was MAGA. So whoever is trying to kidnap it right now from us, it's going to fail. But yeah, because of that loyal towards Trump's America, I think I will have 100% his endorsement. I would believe so.
Would it be like a MAGA again, make Albania great again?
Well, I cannot say make Albania great again, because I thought about that. And okay, so when was the last time Albania was great? And let me tell you, it was before the Islamic invasion, Ottoman invasion in 1455. Because, you can just go there and say, okay, make Albania great again. When? During communism? During the Islamic invasion for 500 years? So when was the last time that we were great? That was the last time. I mean, Albanians have a lot of history. We've been part of Roman Empire. We have emperors that were Albanians, Illyrians. So we have history, and we have been destroyed for so many years and centuries, and Europe has been forgetting us. And Europe is letting Albania get away with this kind of corruption. And I'm really sad that the EU is just so welcoming to Edi Rama. There are major issues going on there, and people in Europe don't know, leaders in Europe don't know, and there's not someone to speak up for those and make the case of what's really happening in Albania. So, but now you have Diella, and that's why you see the most outrageous things happening in Albania, and then it's going to come back to UK. So,
well, maybe you can go with make Albania great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.